Hello, Internets. This is Will Almond. I'm a junior at the University of Washington, Tacoma in the computer science program, and we are going to be talking about the debugger in Eclipse. Now, here we have a word analyzer runner and a word analyzer Java file, and they are supposed to figure out how many repeated letters are in each word. Now we're going to see what happens when we try and run it. Oops. We got A, we got O, and then we got string index out of range. We're going to find out what happened with that. Alright, just moments ago, ran the program, and we got the output of A and O, and then the exception of index out of range. Now the important part, first, of knowing how to debug in Eclipse is knowing how to read the stack traces. Now, this down here in the console, this is all the stack traces. Now you can kind of look at it like at the bottom, that's what it's reading first, and then it goes up and up the hierarchy all the way to where it declares the exception. Now you can read it through here starting at the bottom, and you can click on these little hyperlinks, and of course right here, mate, is where our first issue is declared. Now notice it doesn't go beyond here, so we don't know if there's anything else down below that might be an issue as well. We just know that this is the first issue that's throwing an exception. So then go to the second one. It goes inside mate and shows on this line in check 1. I should call it check 1 instead of mate. Mate's what it's passing into it as a string. And we see here inside check 1 that we have the result, and in this link, which goes into word analyzer, as the next problem. We're getting closer, so here's the next one. Inside word analyzer, a first repeated character, and all the way down to this line. Says this line right here is the problem, and we can kind of see how we would be getting that because we have this string index out of bounds exception. Now if you click on this, that's just going to show you the exception data. Here we'll just click on a Java exception breakpoint, and that doesn't give you where it's wrong, but here it shows you that this is what is wrong, and we can kind of see why, because it says if the character myword.char@, which is I for a for loop, if it's equal to myword.char@, I, so where it's at now, plus 1. Now if it's at the end, then that's going to be over its bounds. So it's going to be index out of bounds exception. So there we have our problem. Now that we've located our exception, we need to get to the meat of the problem and set a breakpoint here. You just put your cursor over here in this gray bar, and it's going to have blue over here. Double click, or you could right click on it, toggle breakpoint, disable breakpoint. Sorry that I had to keep pausing the video. I'm fighting off a cold here. Anyways, so after we set our breakpoint, now we can just run our program, but not the regular way. We have a little debugger icon up here, and it's just like over here where you can select which one you want to run if you want, but it's just gonna just run it like this. Alright, then you get this fancy window over here where you get the list of variables, and and it's going to show you what the current status of everything is. So where we are now, here's the code, and we're on this line where it's green, and it's showing we're at the line we've already ran through our for loop once. So our int is at 0, our int I is at 0, and our character, or char, whatever people call it, it's at A. So we're in aardvark right now. Isn't that what it is? I think it is. We can look at this, my word, aardvark. Alright, so here the program is stopped. It's ran all the way up until it's got to our breakpoint that we've set. Now we can just go up here and click resume, and it'll run through and run the exceptions and everything. And we won't know anything just by doing that yet. So up here you got stop. Now that'll stop the program so that you can reset it and try it again. Here we got step into, and here we have step over. Now those are the most important ones to know. For this part, we're already kind of at our lowest point. We would step into things if we wanted to get inside them to see what's happening, if we were up a level higher. But here we have our step over, and we can use that just as well. So right now we're gonna try doing one more step. It's gonna step down, and it says I plus 1 is gonna return the character A, because the first one we have in aardvark is A, and then the second one is also A. So I plus 1 is going to be A. So it's going to return the character as A. So now we know that the value is going to be returned as A, and we say if the result is equal to 0, which is not, then it should return no repeated characters. So it goes down to jump down to else, because we know that that it's A, it's returning. So it's going to return first repeated character equals then the result. So let's see, should do it. There it is, first repeated character equals A. And now that's kind of a checkpoint for us in knowing about the debugging process that hey, we got this far. Hooray! Alright, now let's move on. And now it's at the bottom, so it's going to jump back down to check one, roommate. It's going to go through here for roommate. So our line is moved back here to roommate, and if we either step into it or step over it, it's going to go back to our breakpoint, wherever we set it. That's going to be kind of our main line is going to be running through there. So let's just step into it, and it's going to go back to our breakpoint as if it was running it normally, but then it stops at the breakpoint, and here we are at R at 0 for our word of roommate, and it's going to go through here, and it's going to run through. R and O are not the same, but it's going to check now O, and yeah, O and O are the same, so it's going to come back here, and it's going to print out O. Now here we are back at our check one and at mate, where it's going to be passing into it. Now if I just hit step over, then it's just going to go to our breakpoint way inside, and we know that has 2 layers to go into. So we can see what's going on here when we hit step into, and it's going to go to the top of check 1. Then we can hit step over again, where there we can see it's created the new word analyzer. And here, this is calling our first repeated character function method. So we want to step into this one. So we step into it, and now we're at the same level as our breakpoint. So we can step through this here and see what's happening. And we can click on here, see what's going on with our word mate. All right, we can. There, it's created I, and I is at 0, and then character at I is M for mate, and then it's going to check I plus 1, which is A, as we know, and it's going to come back up here, and that's not equal, and so I is going to progress on to 1. Then it's going to be at A, and then it's going to go I plus 1, which is T, and A and T are not the same, so it's going to go back up and progress I to 2, and we're going to be T and E. T and E are not the same, which I plus 1, so it's going to go back up, progress again to 3, but hey, we're at the end of the list here now, so let's see what happens when I plus 1, E plus 1. What is that? Oh, it's out of bounds. There we have it, boys and girls. It's out of bounds. Now, before I go on, some of you may be experiencing going into some unexpected classes that you don't know where you are or what they do, what's going on. Well, those are all the inherited classes that Eclipse is going through. That's all the back-end things. Come on. Now, there is a way to fix that so that you're not going into those, so that you're only debugging the classes that you have open currently. So you can go up here to Window, go down here into Preferences, then all the way down here to Java. You're going to hit the little drop down into Debug, and the little drop down again. Step filtering all the way at the bottom of the debug. Here you have all these check boxes, and this a lot of times is unchecked, so you want to click check on use step filters, so these would be grayed out. You want to check it and then click all of these, and these are all the inherited extensions, all of the imported classes that you want to just leave out. So you're going to hit apply. I assume that worked. Hit OK. And then there you go. There you have it. So we can see with this that this method that we had, if we close this here, with this method, it's never going to work for anything that doesn't have zeros in it. We guess the end is going to go +1 and then say, hey, there's nothing there. And it's going to be out of bounds exception. So there's different ways, different methods that are written different ways. And let's see if those ones work. So let's go back here into Word Analyze Runner. Go back up here, and the ones that are expected to be 0, I'm going to just comment those out. The ones for check 1. I'm going to just do a quick save there. Oh, continue. Go back up here to the regular run. And then, oh, look at that. Down here in our console, we can still run it regularly when we're in the debug view. And we get all of our repeated characters displayed. Since we got all of our repeated characters displayed down here, here's the 3 for check 3. Here's the 3 for check 2. And the 2 that we left in there for check 1. We can conclude that we've isolated the bug, and that there's only that one bug in this program that we know of thus far, unless we introduce maybe another one. God forbid. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching this tutorial on the debugger in Eclipse, and I hope you liked it. Thank you. Bye-bye.